Come on, let's go get a tree. Come on. Oh, but there's snow.
Like that? Is that fun?
Sadybug.
He keeps getting caught. Don't cut her! Yay!
Christmas tree! Oh, Christmas
Oh, look at all that sawdust. Actually, it was just the light.
Oh, hello there. I didn't see you come in. Welcome to Shop Industries. You've caught me just doing some of my favorite kind of troubleshooting, administrative. The 1978 Everest 444 LC. Why won't it start? A decision needs to be made pretty soon. I'd like to get that thing out of here before I bring in the GMC Sierra, because I just need the space. So, the question remains, how far do I go with this snowmobile? The story of the Everest 444 LC is remarkably similar to that of the Jukebox and Wild Turfy and the 1978 XL350, which is out in our storage shed, because they all came from the same place. A good friend of mine who I've known many years invited me out to some longtime friends of hers that were cleaning up their farm, Rick and Lori. Thank you very much for your support, Rick and Lori. You guys are awesome. I haven't done a lot with those things that you gave me, but we're getting there. This particular snowmobile ran when it was parked. I hauled it home, and so I don't really have a lot into it other than it cost me a back window on the Jeep on the way there, and I've thrown a key switch into it. I thought, just get it running. It's electric start, which is really nice. So I hooked up a battery and bought a key switch for it and went to turn it over and nothing happened. So I determined that the starter is likely seized or what have you. So I started the process of pulling it out and realized that the ring gear for it to engage with is long gone. Totally missing from this snowmobile. So if anyone out there has a ring gear for a 1978 Ski Doo Everest 444 or 440E, drop me a line. It's pretty hard to find one, actually. It would make diagnosis a lot easier if I could just turn it over on the key. But I can't. So as far as I can tell, it currently has no spark. So that's what's going to need to be rectified. And the 444 LC was actually a pretty hot sled in its day. A 440 was pretty much top of the line, at least as far as consumer snowmobiles were concerned, short of outright racing machines. Adding liquid cooling enabled Ski Doo to bump up the horsepower to a nice round 50, which is substantially more than the 1974 Olympic 300 puts out. And they do have some value. This one is pretty rough. So I have to decide if I'm going to cut my losses now, or do I get it running and then sell it, or do I go all out and make it running and driving? I don't think a full restoration is really worth the effort. it would probably cost much more than it would return, although it would be really cool. So I'm going to continue my research. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. Well, that was kind of unpleasant. Shopcat Industries is pretty welcoming to most examples of the feline species, but basically back inside this cabinet there's a cat door back there so that Clyde and Chi-Chi can, and Stratton too, I guess, can come and go as they please, but it means that other cats can too. And there's a black Tom that comes around here. We call him Fluffy Tail because he has a fluffy tail. And most mornings when I come in here, there's, you know, kind of cat poo on the floor, and there's big tufts of Clyde fur everywhere because that cat comes in here and kicks Clyde's ass. You know, he's a pretty gentle sort of soul. I don't know why that thing feels the need to come in here and beat up on him, but it does. So it came in here while I was sitting filming the last little segment, and I thought, kind of got you now. So I closed that cupboard door so it couldn't get out. But it was hiding back in there behind all this lumber and all kinds of, you know, Model A hoods and Ford doors and all kinds of stuff stacked up back there. And he was hiding in there, so I kind of picked it all up and cleaned it out, and not really proud, but I did shoot him in the bum with a pellet gun. So hopefully that'll be a lesson he doesn't soon forget. I almost had him too. Clawed me a little. I guess I should probably put some, I don't know, some alcohol or peroxide or something on that, but anyway. Moved all that stuff out. I guess what this does is it kind of triggers a cleanup. I'm going to make a lumber rack for that wall there, and then I can get this stack of barn wood and old wood that's over here. Get that stacked up. I'm probably going to build it out of these old 2x4s actually. That's a quote unquote dance floor that I built for the girls many years ago. I suppose it can probably move along. There's a lot of stuff in here that just needs to find a new home. So that was fun. Eventually I let him out, and hopefully he won't be back for a while. Good night. And this corner, if you remember, this corner back here was just like stacks of junk. I don't know if it showed up in other videos, but it was just stacks of junk. It was terrible. And basically what's back here, I used to build a lot of model cars. Planes and stuff too. Lots. So all of these big Home Depot boxes, there are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There used to be 13 of them, but I emptied one out. They are all unbuilt plastic model kits, and built models as well. I had a lot of built models on display, and when we moved here, I didn't really have anywhere to put them, so they kind of came in here, and they've just been in boxes ever since. A little bit of RC stuff up here, cars and stuff. Kind of gotten out of that too. So with tearing everything out of here to get to that cat, I decided it would make better sense to put everything back in a sensible way. So I've had this cabinet forever, mounted it up here, and I don't know, got some books and things. Still has to be all kind of sorted out. Moved the jukebox down. It just fits, just by luck, fits perfectly under here. There's an old record player in there. I have this one as well. I'd like to make at least one good record player. Actually down here I have another one. An old, what is it here? Orthophonic High Fidelity by RCA Victor. It's pretty cool. The radio does kind of work, but the record player does not. So that's, I don't know. One of these days I'll get to it. This stuff is really cool. This is from my dad. He collected this when I was a kid, and he's passed it on to me to play with Luke. Lionel trains. I had these set up all over our basement, and some of the old Matchbox toys, I mean, or Dinky toys, Dinky Super Toys. I played with these so much. You know, they're not in mint condition by any means, but there's all kinds of goodies in here in these totes. So one of these days I'll have to get that stuff going, because that's going to be super fun. We've collected a lot of old barnwood and stuff from various places, so made a shelf for that. Made a shelf up here just out of stuff that I had laying around. I didn't buy anything to do this. This is from an old furniture closet built-in thing that I kind of abandoned, a project. So it makes a nice shelf. That's my ice fishing tent. Some ice fishing gear. So hopefully we'll get out this winter and do some ice fishing. I didn't get out, I think, only maybe once last year. So hopefully I can get out, but I don't know, there's still quite a pile of stuff to find homes for, but so far so good. At least having this kind of all sorted out, I've got a lot of stuff to get rid of. It's going to make a lot more functional space in here that I can then have the Everest still here and being worked on, and hopefully get the Gilson done before too long. And then I can bring the Sierra in here and kind of have everything on the go all at once. Stratton, you little rugrat. Hey, one thing about Stratton, you know, is he's not the most affectionate cat. Like, he doesn't really like people. I don't know if you can tell. He doesn't really like people. You know, he's kind of standoffish. Yeah. Say hi, Stratton. Alright, so that's kind of the update for now. I got this big pile of junk here to deal with. So much more room for activities. Well, what can I say? The experiment hasn't worked out. It was going really well, but now it's gotten to about -15, -17, -18 out here, and the water in the chicken bucket has been freezing up. You can go out every, twice a day, 3 times a day, give them fresh water and whatever, but that's kind of a pain. Everywhere local, hi Chi-Chi, is sold out. And those ones don't get very good reviews anyway. I found one on Amazon that's about 80 bucks Canadian that looks really good, but I do have this still, and I'm not quite finished trying things yet. I got nothing to lose. First I gotta take this thing apart. If you use cable ties and you're not using flush cutters, at least cut the ends off, I hate you. Because those sharp ends, they suck. When I used to build military stuff, if we left sharp ends, the DND quality assurance guy wouldn't even buy off on it. He'd get too upset from scratching his arms and make us trim them off properly before he'd sign off on purchasing the unit that we'd put together. A little pair of these flush cutters cost almost nothing, and they're fantastic. Also really good if you build plastic models. You know, for trimming the parts off the sprue, they'll cut really close and not leave that little sprue tag. It has to be trimmed off and filed off afterwards if you're putting any kind of effort into it. The reason I didn't want to do this way before is because now to fill it up or whatever, we got to unplug it and actually remove it from there and that kind of thing, where before we could just set the bucket on the proper pad and it was easy. It's not pretty, but hopefully it'll work. I'll keep you posted.